hope this works. Can you see that? There we go, we're live. Welcome to another Premier League preview with John Sinclair and AFC Matt. Big Arsenal fan, how are you, my guy? You good?
Yeah, good. Just come off a holiday in Mallorca. 3-4 day holiday, over the Easter weekend. But I am absolutely refreshed. Unfortunately, my team lost in the FA Cup quite disastrously. But other than that, I've had a smashing weekend.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's been good for me. I've done a couple of non-league games, but that's for another time, another day. And guys, like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe to John Sinclair TV. I'm standing for Harry Scarfe. Figured to Harry. I hope he's okay. And big up to everyone in the room as well. I hope you're all having a good evening, what you're doing. So, yeah, let's crack on to it. We've got some exciting games coming up over the weekend for the Premier League. Thanks, Harry, for saying thanks. You're welcome anytime. Let's go straight on to Friday night's game and the match between West Ham United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, West Ham are banging trouble near the bottom of the table, and they need to win this game for many reasons. And as Wolverhampton Wanderers, well, they're doomed anyway. Let's be real about it. So, so what do you think, my friend?
I'm just going to keep this short. I think West Ham are going to bounce back, really, after that. After they got knocked out of the FA Cup by Leeds United. I actually thought their resurgence in that game was actually really, really impressive. They were 2 goals down, in the 90th minute. I kind of thought they were out, so I just clicked off. And then, I took a shower and fucking, if they scored 2 goals in a 9 minutes of extra time. And then they go to extra time. And, it goes to penalties. And they, unfortunately go out. But I think they're going to bounce back. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to West Ham.
Yeah, I'll go with West Ham 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 as well. And if you look at the West Ham, the way they came after 2-0 down, right, against Leeds United in the FA Cup, and they show that kind of fight late on into the game, can you see them staying up based on that performance?
Yeah, I can, because, like I've said all along that West Ham, out of Forest, Tottenham, and West Ham, to me, have shown the most fight, the most desire. They've got a fire in their belly. They want to win points. They want to win games. I don't see that with the other 2 teams as of right now. And yeah, bro, I still think they're going to stay up, even though Tottenham have appointed a very good manager. Still think that West Ham are going to stay up, personally.
Absolutely. West Ham on 18th. Wolves are in 20th, by the way. If you give us a score prediction on that one.
2-1 West Ham.
2-1 West Ham. Thanks so much. I'm going to say the same 2-1 to the Hammers as well. Let's go on to Saturday's game on the April, and top of the table, Arsenal taking on Bournemouth, who are 13th. And I think Arsenal, they need to pick up. Yes, they won the last 4 games. I get it, but Bournemouth drawn too many games for me. They're a draw specialist in the Premier League, drawn the last 5 games. So take it away, your Gula. Take it away. How's it going to go?
Look, we're at home. I think that's very important because, the fans can get behind the team. A lot of the fans. We need to bounce back because we've had 2 very poor, very underwhelming results in the Carabao Cup final and in the FA Cup quarterfinal. Man City and Southampton, respectively. And this needs to be a turning point. I mean, I'm hoping tonight, we play Sporting. I'm hoping tonight that we get a very positive result to lead us into the weekend, because, we're picking up injuries now. It's coming to the back end of the season. Picking up injuries isn't what you want. But we do have squad depth, and, there's no excuses about that. And, I want to see us play a different way than what we've played this season. I want to see us play some open football, because we've got the defence, we've got Declan Rice in front of it to solidify that, and just be a bit more risky in what we do. Because if you've got the best defence, in the league, in the world, in my opinion, then you need to take more risks, because there's no point having that and not taking any risks, because you're just being so risk adverse. Like, I kind of think the emergence of Max Dowman has sort of shown that we can be more risky, we can take more risks, but we just need to do that more and more often, I feel. But in terms of score predictions, I'm going to go a 2-0 win against Bournemouth.
Absolutely.
Because Bournemouth, they haven't won in 8 games. 8 or 9. Their last win was against Tottenham, and that was in January, I'm pretty sure. So that's like nearly 3 months of not a single win.
Yeah, that's not good enough, isn't it? It really is not. That's a long while. That's nearly 3 months. And if that was Tottenham, oh my God, Spurs fans would be absolutely fuming. But you know what? I think Arsenal wins this game by 3-1, and I think it'd be top of the tip. But you need to win that game, because Man City's got a game in hand, and then you have to good Etihad and get out of the game. So I shall be discussing that in due course next week. Let's go on to the next one: Brentford versus Everton. Both teams are going on fine form. Brentford 7th, Everton 8th. I mean, whoever wins this game could go 5th place for now, and could be chasing the Champions League spot. I mean, are Brentford or Everton good enough to get in the Champions League?
Are Everton good enough to get Champions League? I don't know.
Yeah, or Brentford. Can they finish in the Champions League position?
I'll tell you something. I don't think neither of them, I don't think, are going to get Champions League, in my opinion. But I don't see why not that, both teams can't get Europa League, because I think that's
we got Ryan Mead.
Because I think that's a fair, take that, both teams are very capable of achieving Europa League. I think Champions League is a bit out of reach, personally. And I don't think that neither club would benefit being in the Champions League, because although revenue-wise, money will be really good for them, they're just going to get shunted and battered in the Champions League. I think in the Europa League, especially Everton, I think that they could hold their own. I'm not saying that they'll win the competition, but I think that they'll hold their own in the league phase, potentially go, as close as, quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the game on Saturday, I think it's going to be a really good game between these two. I think it's going to be cagey between the two sides. Brentford will attack, Everton will defend. For me personally, I think this could be an easy 2-2 draw. I think it'll be goals in this game, but I say 2-2. What's your prediction, my friend?
My prediction would be, do you know what? I actually thought about this. I think we're going to see a really good game. I think it's going to be 2-1 Everton, but we're going to see a really good game in terms of two teams that could potentially be fighting for European spots in the coming years. And obviously this season.
Excellent stuff. Let's see what happens in that game. I think it'll be a really good, entertaining game, those two. So, KG at first, and I think we'll open it up in the second half between the two sides. Let's go on to the next one, Turf Moor. Soon to be doing Burnley versus Brighton Hove Albion. And Burnley are second from bottom. Brighton and Hove Albion are 10th. If they win, they can go as high as 8th. But I think this season, Brighton's been okay. They won 11 games, drawn 10, lost 10, and they won the last 2 games. And Burnley, what can I say about Burnley? Well, there are 5 games without a win. I mean, they got ODB when outcome. What do you think?
It's a very odd fixture to have at the end of the season, well, practically near the end of the season. You got Brighton, who I don't really think that they've got much to play for personally. And you've got Burnley, I mean, they're 9 point, they're 10 points off of 17th. I think they're going to get relegated. I just think that this is a bit of a nothing game. I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton.
Yep, that's fine. What we do, we're going to rattle these Premier League predictions. Maybe quickly go for the review quickly, because I thought it's just for a preview show as well, sort of thing, mate. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I think Harry won't mind that as well. Sorry, Harry, mate. We rattled through these. I mean, Burnley 0, Brighton 2 for me. Let's go on to Liverpool against Fulham. Liverpool are in 5th. Fulham are in 9th. And Arne starts under big pressure. He needs to win this game. Steven Gerrard today said that don't worry about the Champions League. He's more worried about this game because if he doesn't win this game, then Slot could be under huge pressure. What do you think of that one, mate?
I kind of think this game will determine a lot. Well, no, sorry. The result of this game and how Liverpool go into this Fulham game will determine a lot about the PSG game. If they come up with a positive result against PSG, I think they could beat Fulham. But I fear PSG are going to batter them. And I think that might destroy Liverpool's confidence a bit. And I think that PSG are going to beat Liverpool. I don't know about battering, but I think they're going to beat them. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Fulham win.
Yeah, 2-1 Fulham win. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends on a draw. I was going to say 2-2 in that game. 2-2. That would be absolutely massive for Fulham. I can see that. 100%. Let's go on to these games. The Sunday game, we should go straight into it. Palace against Newcastle. For me, Newcastle having a poor season. We've done 270 million quid, just be 12th at the moment. Crystal Palace, they're not getting relegated. They're not going to get in European football this season. But one thing I'm going to say that Glasgow will want to end up on a high. And Palace got 39 points. Newcastle got 42 points. And I think this game's got a draw written over it, mate.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, Newcastle. 2:00 Sunday. Do you know what? I actually think Newcastle are going to win because I haven't been impressed with Crystal Palace in terms of what's going on with them because they're about to lose some, a lot of key players, in the summer, and I just think it's kind of the beginning of the end for Crystal Palace in terms of them being in a favourable Premier League position, in terms of fighting for Europa League, fighting for Conference League. I just think that they're going to slowly become a mid-table team, or saturate that. And I just think Newcastle are actually going to have a late resurgence for Conference League football. And I think Newcastle are going to win 3-1.
I hope you're right, mate. Matt, I hope you're right.
That's your team, isn't it? That's your team, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. I hope you're right, mate. And you know what? If you win that game, I'll get you 12 kisses and drinks all you want, mate. Bless you. And we got next game we got on Sunday, Forest against Villa. Forest need to win. And if they are to beat the drop, and Aston Villa, well, they need to keep winning games to cement a Champions League place. Yes, Villa won last week. And Forest, they've also won as well. And this game could go either way. What do you think of this game, bro?
Let me just quickly get out. Forest, Aston Villa. Aston Villa have... Look, they won last week or 2 weeks ago. But before that, I mean, they were in, they lost 3 games in a row before that. And with Forest, I actually think that they picked up a little. They've gotten, 5 points from 3 games. I think that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. I'm going to go... Do you know what? This has been full of surprises. I'm going to go 2-1 Forest, just. 2-1 Forest, just. And that's because they're at home.
I think this game could. It's got tough on the call. I'm going to say Forest 2, Villa 2 in that game.
Ooh, a draw. I like that.
A draw. I think it's going to be a draw, that game. So that could go either way. I think Forest go ahead, Villa go 2-1 up. I think Forest get a late leveler, and that will absolutely kick Villa in the you know what for place in Champions League. So We'll see what 2-2 for me. Let's go for this one. This could be game of the weekend. Sunderland versus Tottenham Hotspur at Stadium of Light. Sunderland, they seem to drifting a little bit since they beat us the last game, by the way. And then as for Tottenham, well, I tell you what, they need to get their arse in gear quickly under the new manager, Roberto De Zerbi, and it's his first game in charge. They had a week in training with him, so this is going to be a tough one for Tottenham. I really do. This could end up in a draw again.
Look, they've also got a new manager. They've got key players coming back. Apparently, Kudus might only make the squad for Sunderland. I thought Kudus would be fit to start. And that would be, a big boost for Tottenham because, he's a very attacking outlet for them. I think this is going to be a really hard game. I think Tottenham fans are getting a bit carried away with them hiring De Zerbi because essentially hiring De Zerbi was the best of a bad bunch. I personally don't think he is as good a manager as Tottenham fans are making him out to be. I think his style of play is a very attacking, colossal style of play. And as much as that might suit a few of the Tottenham players, I think defensively they're so suspect. And I watched De Zerbi side, especially Brighton. They weren't great defensively under him. And I think this is going to be 1-1. I think that they'll do well to get a draw personally. But
I agree, Matt. I agree.
There's a feeling that Sunderland could win 2-0, but I think it's going to be 1-1.
Oh, I tell you what, though, I'm going to say 1-1. And I'll tell you what, Spurs lose this game, then they got Brighton next game, then Wolves away. It does look good for them, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Let's be real.
Brighton,
so
I think that they'll do well against Brighton personally. But it is a tough game.
It is. We'll comment on next week, I'm sure. Let's go on to Chelsea Man City. That's definitely game of the day. Chelsea, well, I tell you what, under New Senior, I don't think he's good enough to be Chelsea manager personally, but they are in 6th and they can still make Champions League if they put a run together. And they got Manchester City. They're going to need to win as well, unbeaten last 6 games. And they drew in the last 2 games. So this game could go either way. But I'm going to go Man City to win that game by 2-0.
I'm in agreement with you in Rosinha. I don't think he's a good enough manager to even manage in the Premier League, let alone Chelsea. I just don't think he's a Premier League standard manager. And I think that Chelsea offering him a 6-year deal is absolutely crazy. They've got more faith in him than Arsenal had in Arteta. And we had a lot of faith in Arteta. The board did. They backed him they backed him like to the moon. But offering Rosinha a 6-year deal was ridiculous, man. I don't think that the 7-0 Port Vale result makes any difference in this game. As much as I want Chelsea to get something, I don't think they will. I think they're going to get absolutely battered by Man City. I think Man City are going to win 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. Well, I tell you what, that would not look good for Chelsea at all if they get beat 4-0.
I think they will win 4-0, and I think they'll close down the goal difference to us.
Could well be. Well, we see what happens in that one. Not for your case, you know what I mean? But okay for the neutrals, or not for you. Bless you. Let's go on to the last one in the Premier League. Man United versus Leeds United. The two teams do not like each other, especially Leeds fans at Old Trafford. United doing really well under Michael Carrick. Only lost once since he's taken over, and that's against us, of course. And then Leeds United, they're fighting down there in a minute. They could be 1 point above the drop zone if Sol scores against them, but they need to win their game. They've drew the last 2 games. That could be one hell of a game.
I just want to focus on Man United really quickly because Man United have had nearly a month rest. They cannot come away other than a win. They cannot come away with a draw or a loss. It has to be a win for Man United. And I know that they're probably Champions League safe, in terms of points wise. But when you've got the quality of players that Man United have, and they've had roughly 20 to 28 days of rest, like you've got to be expecting a big win, a big performance. But I don't think it's going to happen because this game, I really look forward to this game, and I think that this game is the game of the weekend personally, because Man United and Leeds notoriously hate each other. Like some awful stuff gets chanted, and it's not really like a rival game for the players, but it's a rival game for the fans. The fans hate each other, and I think it's going to be 2-2. 2-2.
Yeah, I'll go down as well. I'll say Man U 3, Leeds 2 in that game. That'd be 5-goal fuller. I think United will win later on. I'm going to say United 3, Leeds United 2, and I think that will not be good for Leeds United. So that completes the Premier League round up for the weekend. Let's quickly go through the FA Cup reviews quickly. Man City, Liverpool. Man City beat Liverpool for 4-0. Erling Haaland scored a hat-trick. Semenyo with the goals. And Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk has come out and said that he's just given up. Mo Salah had a nightmare. Go
on. I just want to speak on Van Dijk because all these Liverpool fans say to me he's the greatest centre back, of all time in the Premier League. And I'm like, this is why he ain't, because Van Dijk, he ain't even that old. Genuinely, he's not that old for a centre back. When you consider, how old, Sergio Ramos was, for example. I mean, Van Dijk's 34, and he's not really been playing from 16, 17, 18 years old at the highest level. So I actually have a lot of criticism for Van Dijk, and I think he's a great centre back. He's a world-class centre back, or he was a world-class centre back. Is he one of the greatest centre backs in the Premier League of all time? No, I don't even think he's top 5 personally. But that's a debate for another day. But I mean, over the course of his career, not including this season, he's given away 4 penalties. This season, he's given away 4 penalties. It's absolutely ridiculous the decline that this man has had. And you think about it, Liverpool gave this guy 400 bags a week, and this is the performances he's given them. Like, Liverpool really made a really poor decision on Salah and Van Dijk last summer. And I get because Trent forced their hand, they couldn't let 3 of their most important star players go. But I felt they kind of needed to, because why would you give those 2 players, Salah and Van Dijk, 400k a week when you could have probably, enticed Vinicius Jr., like Rodrigo, those type of players. You probably could have, flashed 400 grand in Saliba's pocket, potentially, or Gabriel's pocket, but they didn't do either of that. They could have got Nkapie. They could have got so many good centre backs for the wages that they gave Van Dijk. And it's poor showing. It was like he couldn't be bothered against Man City. And when you do that against Man City for Liverpool, shocking, man.
Shocking. I tell you what, I agree with everything you say there, my friend, honestly, because at the end of the day, right, that could potentially cost on the starter's job at the end of the season, but we'll see what happens. Let's go on to a number one. It finished is Chelsea 7, Port Vale 0. Well, what do you expect? We can't read much into it, can we? I mean, Chelsea did what they had to do. I mean, Port Vale, didn't offer a lot, but it's just a training exercise for Chelsea Football Club, mate.
I agree and disagree. I agree it's a training exercise because they played their first team, basically. I mean, if we look at their team, right? I mean, Jesus. I mean, Sanchez starts for them. Fofana starts for them. Neto starts for them. Palmer starts for them. João Pedro starts for them. And, and you could argue Esteval to a degree. 5-6 players that start for Chelsea week in, week out, and you're playing them against Port Vale. I mean, I wasn't surprised that they won 7-0. I mean, I was actually more surprised that that Port Vale didn't give it, a better go. But I'm not surprised at the scoreline because that's probably £400 million worth of talent, possibly even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just surprised that they didn't give more than one academy player a try. Like, I mean, Cooper McQueen, he came on for about 10 minutes. That was it. And when you're playing against Port Vale, I mean, I don't really understand Chelsea. I mean, fair play to them because they've gone through to the next round. They're at Wembley, but I think they probably could have put out their C team and beaten Port Vale personally. But yeah, not surprised.
Absolutely. I think Lucina needs to win a trophy this season just to make sure that he's up to the job. Let's go on to your mob. You got beat 2-1 off Southampton, and let's be real, it was a tough place to go to. But for me, that's very disappointing. I mean, you lost the Carabao Cup against Man City, and now you lost the FA Cup against Southampton. Are Arsenal beginning to bottle it again, mate?
I just want to quickly touch on the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup final was simply Pep Guardiola showing why he's one of the greatest managers of all time, and possibly the greatest manager of all time in the Premier League, era. Because he outclassed Arteta in a way that I didn't really expect. Because we started Kepa, which fair enough, he's our cup goalkeeper. More than entitled to start him. I don't mind him starting Kepa. But when it got to half time, Pep noticed something, and that was Kepa didn't go long, always went short. And there was a period in the straight after the second half, very early in there, Kepa had the ball, and Man City's front four pressed our defense line, but didn't press the goalkeeper. They just allowed him to have the ball. And if that was Riot in goal, he probably could have spotted a ball over the top to Ben White, or to Mosquera, whoever started, and would have bypassed 4 of their players and probably gone on for an attack. Instead, Kepa just fake pass it. Tries to find an opening, fair enough, but he couldn't. And that's the difference between a goalkeeper like Raya and a goalkeeper like Kepa. And Pep played a brilliant tactic there to, stop us from playing our football, really. And they rightly deserved to win that game. With the Southampton game, the only positive I could take from that is Max Dowman. Because the rest of the senior players were shocking. I mean, Odegaard, I'm not going to roast him because he just come back from injury and he actually looked okay. But the rest of the players, I mean, Ben White in particular, Jesus, Martinelli, Norgard, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Mosquera, Gabriel, they looked so poor. And I think it says so much when every time Max Dowman has played for Arsenal, he's been the best player on the pitch. And what I saw against Southampton was him trying to carry the team, trying to drag the team across.
16-year-old, by the way. 16-year-old, by the way.
Yeah,
Carrying this football club. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
I know. And us fans don't even speak about his age anymore because what he does for Arsenal, for the past couple of months, it's like he's normalized it. He's normalized those type of performances. And we were 2-1 down to Southampton in the 85th, 86th minute. And there was 15 minutes left of the game. And there was 2 or 3 instances where he literally went past 4 players and won a dangerous free kick. And I can't name you a player other than Eze in our squad that is capable of doing that. And I'm not even joking here. Max Dowman is our most technical football player in the first team squad. He's more technical than Saka, more technical than Odegaard, more technical than Eze, more technical than Jesus, more technical than anyone. And as much as that's, a lot of credit and praise to Dowman, that's also really concerning that is what it is, that our senior players have not stepped up. In a game like that where we've just been absolutely roasted by Pep Guardiola's Man City, and we put in that performance against Southampton. And I actually thought that the team we put out was very exciting. We had 3 players that can carry the ball very well. We had Miles Lewis-Skelly can carry the ball very well. He also put in a top performance, for the England under-21s, but a shocking performance, against Southampton. You had Martin Odegaard who could carry the ball, and you had Max Dowman who can carry the ball. And other than Dowman and Odegaard, no one gave a shit, personally. And a lot of that says to me that we don't have the best squad in history, that, rival fans keep telling us and stuff like that. There's a lot of players that need to leave Arsenal. Jesus, Martinelli, Ben White, Kai Havertz to a degree, because I just don't see him kicking on with his recent injury that he's had. And Miles Lewis-Skelly potentially, because I love Miles. I think he's
gone backwards for me.
He's a fantastic footballer, and I think he has a very bright future at Arsenal if he's played in midfield. If we're playing him at left back, you may as well play Max Dowman at centre back, because you're playing him out of position. Like, there's literally no point playing Lewis-Skelly at left back. Yes, he was sensational last season, in his breakout season, but I almost feel that that's just that breakthrough season of fearlessness that made him do that, and his body, the way he wins fouls and puts his body in between the ball and the player, makes him so good at left back. But when you're found out, he's kind of got nowhere else to go, in that he needs to be played in midfield. And I feel like this summer could be very pivotal to Mars' future at Arsenal. If Norgard leaves, I don't want to see anyone signed for Norgard's replacement. We've got Norgard's replacement. That's Miles Lewis-Skelly. If Norgard doesn't leave, I think we need to cash in on Skelly, because I think we could easily get 50 mil for him personally. If you wait for another 2 years, that could easily go down to 20, 30 million. And we've been a terrible club for not selling at the right time. We sell at the wrong time. And I feel like, yes, he's hailing. Yes, he's an Arsenal fan. Yes, he's made his debut for England, and scored that record-breaking goal. And I was there at that stadium when he scored that goal for England. But we need to be ruthless. And I think we're coming to a point where we might potentially be Premier League champions, potentially Champions League, champions. We need to start being a club that wins those on a consecutive basis, in terms of treating the football club as that. We have to make ruthless decisions. I mean, with Ethan Waneri, I don't think we should sell him. But if someone offered me 80 million, I wouldn't say no. Obviously, if someone offered me, 100 million for Max Dowman, I'm saying no to that. But you get my point with those 2 players in particular. Agreed. They're on 5-year deals now, so we will be getting good money for them if we sell this summer. But if we wait, another 18 months, that value is going to go down if we don't play them. Yeah. And Ben White needs to go.
Yeah.
Ben White, thank you very much for your services. but goodbye, because I have a lot of respect for Ben White, but again, it's a business industry. I have a lot of respect for Ben White because when Timber got the ACL injury for that season, Ben White played through injury because we had no choice. And he's not the type of person to say, I've got an injury, I can't play. He'll run through a brick wall, as Mikel Arteta said. And fair play to Ben White, but I think that's probably killed his Arsenal career.
Yeah, I could not have put it any better. I mean, I was going to comment on that as well, but speaking of Arsenal all night, we really could. But we got to flash quickly to West Ham Leeds, and Leeds go for the penalties. West Ham fans walked out when the second goal went in, and when it came to penalties, Leeds came through it. They'd be playing Man City in the semi-final. Is it Man? No, they're playing Chelsea in the semi-finals. Yes. Man City's playing Southampton. I mean, who do you think, before we wrap up the show, who do you think is going to come through that game? If we go to the final.
Through that, okay. So the semi-finals, I think City will win, and I think. Look, don't hate me. I think Leeds will win. I think Leeds are going to win because they're the type of team to get really lucky against West Ham in a game that they should have been so comfortable ahead. They should have won that 2-0, but they let it slip, and they were lucky that West Ham had to bring on a kid for as a goalkeeper. I just feel that Leeds don't like Chelsea either. Like Leeds don't like a lot of big teams, but I just feel that they'll get something against Chelsea because if they didn't have Liam Rossini, I probably would say Chelsea. Well, no, I would say Chelsea actually, without a shadow of a doubt, but. I just feel Liam Rossini is going to overcomplicate that game, and he's going to make some changes that weren't necessary. And I just feel Leeds will win. And do you want my final?
Yeah,
cup winner, Leeds.
Well, we'll see what happens for me. It'll be Man City. I think it'll be Man City.
Head Man City, heart Leeds. I want Leeds United to win that trophy because I don't think Man City have necessarily deserved the FA Cup. They beat Liverpool 4-0, but I just don't think they deserved it personally.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, just what through wrap up the show. Ryan Seattle said, sounds familiar with Voldemort playing people without opposition. I want to see Voldemort up front. I do not want to see him playing midfield ever again. Not for my team.
By the way, just on Voldemort, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea, offer you a swap deal of Liam Delap. I would not be surprised because Liam Delap feels to me like a Newcastle type striker profile. Walter Maida just doesn't scream Newcastle to me personally. I've not been impressed with him.
Well, first 10, 12 games I've been impressed with him, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to call him out. Yeah, I'm not going to tap out on him because he's only a young player, and I'm sure that Eddie Howe does get sacked at the end of the season. A new manager comes in, and then I think it will bring the best out of Nick. Anyway, see what happens. We're going to wrap up the show there because it's 7 o'clock. So I know you got to go to football, mate. But thanks for coming on, by the way, and thank you for Harry for letting me be the host on his wonderful show. So if you like the video, like what we watched, do subscribe to Scarfey, Spurs, and Harry Scarfe. So Scarfey Talks Premier League podcast and Harry Scarfe as well. And Matty, where can we find you, my friend?
So I'm on Twitter. I'm AFC Matex with 2 X's on Twitter.
Fantastic stuff. You can find me on John Sinclair TV. I'll do match day vlogs all over the country, and I'll be doing non-league championships, League 1, League 2, Scotland, and all over the country. This Saturday, I'll be at Cardiff against Bolton, and I will be Wembley on Sunday, Luton Town, Stockport County. Those 2 games I'll be going over the weekend. So for the 30 Trophy Cup final. So yeah, so hit me up for that. And if you like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like, subscribe. We should be back again next week for another Premier League preview. So